All right, Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to ZBrush Live. Uh, Today is going to be an interesting one, so buckle up. There's going to be some really kind of mind-boggling stuff happening. We're going to continue what we were working with, but we are also going to be, I'm also going to be showing something that I just discovered, and I definitely think all of you are going to be blown away by it. All right, so without further ado, I'm just going to do a quick sound check. So if you can see my screen and also hear me okay on my microphone, then please let me know in the chat. I think everything should be okay. So if somebody from YouTube and somebody from Twitch can just in the chat let me know if you can hear me okay, then I can go ahead and get going here. All right. All right. Looks and sounds great on YouTube. Okay. Thank you, NNAVS. And I think if YouTube is good, Twitch should be good, but I'll wait a couple of seconds here for somebody from Twitch to chime in. There's quite a few people watching, so it should be there. I'm sure there are some on Twitch, so come on, guys. We're waiting on you. Anybody, just type it in. I can see you fine, I can hear you fine, and we'll get going. All right, so while that's happening, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have questions, you can ask during the stream. I'm going to be showing the AI stuff at the beginning. And so, you know, if you're just tuning in for that, you'll get to see it right up from the bat. And then we'll just continue with the project I've been working on in the past for the rest. Okay. So still waiting for somebody from Twitch. And if you have questions after the fact, you can leave them in the notes, and we will get back to you. Last week, somebody asked if I can share my UI, and yeah, I don't know if this person knows, but I don't share my UI because it's my UI, and it's not because I don't want to share it. It's because it is tuned into the way that I work, and I highly recommend that you tune your own UI to the way that you work. I think that would be a lot better for you in how you use ZBrush, the way that you work. Okay, so I still haven't heard from anybody from Twitch. I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not, they can't hear me on Twitch, or they can't see me. So that's pretty odd. Okay, I'll just bring up my ZBrush screen here, and still waiting to see if somebody can hear and see me on Twitch. Looks like no. Huh. Let's see. All right. Well, I'm just gonna go get going. I mean, if it's on YouTube, it'll get recorded on YouTube, and if Twitch people aren't watching live, they can watch the video on YouTube later, I guess. Okay, so here I've got some kind of a quick sketches that I did of this alien, and I mean, it's nothing major, maybe like 10-15 minutes. This one's been kind of clay polished to death. Here's another one, kind of where I started with it. Just kind of stupid sketches that I did a while back. And and I kind of developed it to this. I think I was testing out some new feature or something like that. But again, nothing really major, nothing really really kind of head turning. But here's kind of the next stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my ZBrush screen to my other monitor. And I'm going to bring up this app here, or this website called Krea. Okay, and I've just typed alien xenomorph here. It's kind of a similar kind of thing to what you know, AI tools are. I can just type in whatever, you know, green dude, I don't know, and then there's a green dude, right? So the weird thing is, or the good thing is, that it generates this pretty fast, right? So I get a really fast result. So, however, the little difference here is that I can go in here and say I want to share a screen or an image, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to share my ZBrush screen. So there's my ZBrush screen, and I'm just going to enlarge this so that I have my ZBrush screen in here. Now again, nothing really major happening. This is still kind of like those stupid AI images that we keep seeing. But we are going to solve one of the, you know, I've had a few problems with AI, and I'm going to solve them now, which is kind of good and kind of really scary. Okay, so what I can do here is, with this slider, I can bring it down so the AI strength, so, you know, if I lift this up, it's full 100% AI. And if I bring this down, it's basically getting the information from here. Okay, so one of the things about AI that sucked before is that, you know, if I wanted to see this in a certain aspect ratio or a certain view, I couldn't do that. But now I can. So here, if I go and start rotating my ZBrush model, notice what's happening here, right? So I'm getting a different kind of a version of what I had over here, right? So I've got this over here, and I've got a version of it over here. And if I want to iterate this, I want to see like a different version of it, I can just say randomize the seed, and now I'm getting a different version, a different version, a different version. And I mean, this is pretty rough here, but it is instantaneous. So if I'm just doing ideation, for example, I can continue to rotate this, and I could do whatever angle I want. So if I want it this way, I'll do that. And then within minutes, of course, this has stopped doing it now. I don't know why. say, oh, here we go. And let's say an alien. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, so now it's at this angle, and then if I rotate this, at a different angle like this, it'll do that. If I want to do a zoom in, right, like this, now I've got a zoomed in version. And notice here I'm getting something really interesting. And again, I can just kind of click on the seed here. And if I don't want it head on, if I want to rotate it a little bit like this, so I'm getting that in here, right? So I'm getting something that's more fleshed out and has a lot more detail than what I have. So that's one of the problems that it solves, is that the angle of what I'm looking at. And again, typing this crap in as a prompt, I never got what I wanted. But now I can just go in here and I can just manipulate my ZBrush model, and I'm getting a result over on the right. And again, I can do seeds here to get iterations of it. And again, this is really rough, but it's good enough to kind of give me some ideas. And I can run a quick enhance on it and get something a little bit more enhanced. I don't know if you guys are seeing it. I don't know why it's not staying. But I think if I press E, I should get that quick enhance. Yeah, I don't know why it's not staying on. And I don't know if this is a toggle or if it just does it. And there's some sort of a bar somewhere that I need to move. Okay, so one problem that this solves for me is the angle at which I'm viewing whatever that I'm viewing. And again, I don't really want to argue about whether AI is a good thing or a bad thing here. I mean, I've shared my concerns with AI before, but just from a workflow perspective, for getting iterations on a concept, I'm getting so many cool iterations, and all I'm doing is just putting in this very rough sketch that I did in ZBrush. Now, the other problem that I had was I couldn't direct the lighting of my image in AI, but here I can. So let me see what kind of material is applied to this. Let me just put in some sort of a material. I guess I'm using basic material, which should be okay. So if I change the lighting to, let's say, be coming from below, something like this, notice that the AI will reflect the lighting as well. So not only can I rotate my object and view it from whatever angle I want and get kind of an interesting thing, but I can also get the lighting as well. So if I want the lighting to be dead on, we're coming in from this angle. So you can see what I'm lighting here in my ZBrush app over here. And you can see the AI kind of generating whatever it's generating over here, right? So I can also play around with the lighting. Okay. And get different lighting scenarios. I could have it be coming in from the top, like this. And I can have the light be in the back. And I'm doing all this in ZBrush. So now the light is kind of like a rim light from the back. And I'm getting a similar effect. Sometimes it takes a minute to figure it out. It will in a minute here. And generate, here we go. And so now kind of the lighting is coming from the back. Do a quick enhance on that, see if I get something better. That's weird that it put a face in here. So somehow it hallucinated a face over there for some reason. Let's move this over. Okay, so there it is. And let's bring the light back to the front. Okay, now the next thing that's kind of creepy and interesting is that I can go in here and I can start editing my object. So here, I'm just going to go into the move brush here and say, well, what if, I have the head be like this? And that is just reflected in the image, in the AI image right away. And what if I don't want this to be as long and I want it to be kind of up higher, right? So I don't think it's getting exactly what I want here, but maybe if I rotate it a bit, it kind of gets the idea of this is kind of one of the looks. So here, as I'm just manipulating this, it is kind of generating the kind of a appropriate image. Again, it's got the same quirky things that AI has, but being able to do this real time is just an amazing capability, right? So here we go. And again, whatever angle I want, I can get looking at it from bottom up. And just for the kind of the few minutes that it's taking, it's getting some really interesting results for me. And even if I'm not going to use the AI image, but I'm just going to get some ideas from it, I can just save these off and get those ideas. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is I can also poly paint this. So here, let me bring up my poly paint. So let's say I want to choose a different, so let me just fill this with, let's say, choose kind of a fleshy color here and do a fill object. There it is. Okay, and then I'm just going to maybe choose some sort of an orange and start painting. It's kind of hard because I wanted work on here, but actually my ZBrush is on another screen. So here I'm going to go ahead and maybe paint this a little bit, and you can kind of see the paint appear automatically on there. So this is a way to drive AI in such a way where you're actually kind of directing the color, the lighting, the pose, and the angle of view of the object. And here I can change my focal length of my camera. So right now I'm at 80, so let's say I use something like a 35, and that kind of is reflected over here as well. Again, I can always hit on the seed to just get something different than what's there. And again, instantaneous. And I'm basically using no style, but I can choose a cinematic style or an illustration type style, right? So I can also go to different kind of views of this too. So the product kind of is a little bit more polished. A cinematic is more like a movie. Again, none of these are that great, but you know, you kind of keep at it and you can refine it this way. So here I'm going to try some other colors. Let's say I choose a let's say a bluish color and start painting maybe this part, this bluish color. And again, you can kind of see that the result is happening over here on the right. And again, if I now, one of the limitations, and I'll just mention that right off the bat, is that if I am rotating this, I'm not getting the same thing, right? So I'm getting a different type of alien here. So if I want to look at the same alien from different angles, that's just not going to work. But if I just want a certain vantage point, that it will work for that. Okay, so I don't know if you guys realize the implications of this and how powerful of a tool it is to use something like ZBrush to do this. And I can, you know, I could be sculpting just live. Let me just move on to here. Let's say I use clay buildup. I can start just building this up. And as I'm building this up, as I'm digging in or whatever, the image on the right is just reacting. It knows that I did a negative in that area. So it's kind of pulling that in to this. So I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I don't know. There's enough of you watching, so I don't know what to say here. If your minds are not blown away by this, or if you've seen it before, I doubt that you have, then I'd be curious to know what you're thinking when you're seeing this. All right, so, you know, again, I'm just moving this around, and as I'm moving this around, I'm getting all sorts of different AI images that are coming up. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. So now the next step, the next kind of big discovery of this is that I had these aliens that I made a while back. So it's this guy right here, which looks kind of like this. And let me choose a different color for him. Like that. So again, you kind of get, kind of figured it some sort of a mouse or a kangaroo, which is kind of interesting. So this was an alien that I worked on a while back, trying out Pablo's Giger and Beksinski brushes. And here, as I'm rotating it around, I'm getting, again, different vantage points, kind of similar to what I did before. But what I did with this model is I loaded it into Mixamo and got some different poses. So notice here that it is also doing the pose over in this area. Let me do some randomization here to get something a little bit more interesting. And instead of just typing an alien, let's just type xenomorph. see, I don't know. Again, the amount of AI I'm using here is very little. Of course, I can always pump this up. And as I go up, it starts adding backgrounds or whatever. And that's kind of another thing too, is you can start getting backgrounds. There is a certain point, I think at about 50%, it kind of goes off and starts doing its own thing. But I think up until 50%, I get a pretty kind of close imitation of what I have. Now, it's not doing the pose at that percent. It's kind of trying to, but it's not really succeeding. But as I move this slider down, I'm getting a pose that's very close to what I have. And again, I can just randomize the seed and get something else. And I can also randomize the prompt, by the way. So here it's just kind of going through different prompts that it has and generating different kind of models. But what's interesting here is that it's generating the models in that pose, more or less. I don't think it understands that this is the front of the face of the model. So maybe if I rotate it a bit, it'll get that idea. Okay, so, and again, I could lower this further down. And Bustling Academy in a Meteor. Wow, what the hell? All right, so let's just go back to Alien here. Alien creature. All right, so, and again, as I rotate this, it will start kind of imitating that pose. And this really is not that kind of big of a pose. But if I have a bunch of different poses here, and I'll just cycle through them here. So here's kind of a more type of esoteric pose, but look at that. It just basically imitates it. Not perfectly, again, not something that is very compelling, but the mere fact that I'm getting the exact same pose is kind of an interesting aspect of this. And again, I don't know how I would type this in a prompt to get that pose. So I'm just kind of cycling through the different poses here. Here's this one, right? And you can kind of see it just kind of is imitating that pose right there. I do see some things coming in the chat. I will get to you in a minute. All right, so there it is. And again, I can move this in and out. Again, I can change the lighting on this. I can do all sorts of stuff, but it knows this is the ground. It generated a shadow for me. And actually, this is not too bad of a generate image. And this is actually really good. And then I can do a quick enhance on it to see what I get. Wow, somehow it became a goat. All right. Again, it's not foolproof. It's not like golden, but I think this is a big leap in what I was able to do with AI that I was not able to do before. And again, notice as I'm rotating this to look at it from different angles, it is just doing that for me. And it realizes what is the back and what is the front, more or less. I don't think it knew this was the, yeah, it thinks this is the front. That's funny. All right, so maybe it's not as intelligent. Okay, so there's that. And then let me go to another image here, another pose. This one, I think he's sad. Oh no, you know, AI is doing all this stuff. What are we going to do? All right, and then another seed here, another seed. All right. Right, so you kind of can see here that I'm going through different iterations of this. And yeah, there it is. Again, some of it good, some of it not. But again, maybe I can improve this with the prompt. Again, I'm just moving the slider up. And notice here, just as soon as I start getting up there, it starts getting bad. But then I might want it to be up here because it might generate a background that is interesting. Like maybe I like this background. So I can just in Photoshop take this out and use this as a background for my composition. All right, let's just look at some other poses here. Here's another one. Right, looking up. And again, it's not really following that because I'm at strength of really high here. But if I kind of lower the strength, then it starts. Yeah, I don't think it's understanding where the face of this thing is. It's having a hard time figuring that out because I don't really have eyes in here. Let me see what happens if I do put in some eyes. So if I go in here and let's just see, clay. I don't think I've got if I do this, I wonder if this is enough information. Yeah, it is. So that's enough information to give it. It understands that this is a mouth. It understands that this is a nose cavity, and now it understands that these recesses are eyes, right? And so now if I rotate it, it will know that that's kind of the eyes of the creature. It's kind of interesting. It always wants to make it into some sort of a lizard. All right. So, and what's really even more interesting is if I go to, if I don't solo this, if I go to all of the models, then it does all of them. And that really kind of freaked me out because it's like, you know, all of a sudden I can do all of these guys. That's why it wasn't moving. There's a plane on the ground. Let me get rid of it real quick. Here we go. Right, so if I want to do a bunch of them, then it does a bunch of aliens. So then I can do a lineup. I can have a bunch of these guys lined up, and then I can just hit the random seed and get a bunch of different results next to each other. I don't think they're going to be the same. It is taking some time to think here, but again, the speed at which this is happening is just baffling to me. Let me move this over. I don't think this is really, I need to move it over here. Here we go. Right, so here this one's looking up, this one's looking this way, and so it's kind of trying to imitate that as well as it can. And this is at strength 0.1, so there's very little AI action going. And I'm going to lift this up, and as I move this over or do this, you notice that all these characters are going to be changing. So it can do crowds as well, which is really, you know, kind of an interesting thing to do. All right. It's kind of interpreting my mouse cursor and thinks it's something to, just funny. If I put it over here, for example, it thinks it's some sort of a, it also does some weird things with the ZBrush UI, which is really amazing. All right, so that's kind of what the app is called Krea.ai. It's a website you go to. So you go to generate, and then you can generate it, and you can generate as much as you want. I don't think they charge you for that. But if you go to enhance, I think then you'll have to pay for it. So basically the way the enhance works is that, let's say I go back to those initial aliens that I had, right? And let's say, oops, didn't want to do that. It's really hard not to be working on this and kind of remember that the ZBrush is on another screen. So let's say I do something like this, right? And I like this alien. Right, I can do a quick enhance on it, which gets me something really decent. And if I want this to be even more enhanced, then I can click on this button, which will take me to this screen here. And then I can choose different aspects. I can choose the upscale factor. So I'm just going to keep it at 1. And you know, alien feature, negative prompt, like things I don't want, I will put in here, and just click on enhance. And this actually takes a while, but I've done a few, and I'll just show you what those are. So here's this one, which is what we were working on before, and you can see here's the unenhanced version, and this is what enhance does to it, right? So it basically just makes it look so much more, so much kind of cleaner, puts some details in there and whatnot. I mean, didn't really do the teeth well, but I mean, you know, this took me like minutes to do. So it's kind of an interesting way to do it. All right, so that's basically it for the AI stuff. I thought I would share this with you all and let you know that ZBrush can be used kind of as a tool to basically get AI to hone in on or dial into the type of thing you are trying to do a lot better than having to type a bunch of text in there to do it. Okay, so all right, let's see what's going on with the chat. All right. Yeah, you can watch the VOD Slumpy Dumpy Um, Torch rotate. Okay, that's cool. All right. So it sounds like they just need to be able to capture. Well, I mean, you know, even if you stay on the same seed, if you rotate the object, you're not going to get the same thing, right? I mean, that's still something that's missing. It would be scary if you're actually getting, you know, if you generate something and then you can rotate that generated object. I think that's still not something that is happening, not yet. The one 3D artist, hey, how's it going? Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm testing the waters. I'm not testing the waters. I'm just asking some really you know, questions that pop into my head. I just want to know what people are thinking. I mean, AI is definitely kind of top of mind for a lot of artists, for a lot of people. You know, I'm not really, you know, full-heartedly going after, you know, and thinking AI is going to replace everybody. But I definitely do think that it is out there, and I would be better off being familiar with it than not. But, you know, will I be using this in my workflow? If I have to do some work for, let's say, a concept design for something and I have a very short period of time to do it in, would I be using this? Absolutely. I am getting a lot of angry comments. I mean, I'm not really getting angry comments. I'm not asking questions. I mean, there are some people that are obviously angry, and that's fine. I see why they are angry, and I understand. And, you know, I mean, in some ways, you know, I'm as angry as they are. However, I just want to, however, I'm just, you know, making sure that I understand what's going on out there and not being just, you know, turning my back on it all, because I need to be educated. I need to understand what it is. And if this is the way to work in the future, it is. There are a lot of lawsuits that are happening for AI, and there's a lot of things that could happen. Funding for it could stop, the bubble could burst, whatever the deal is. You know, but again, these are things that are happening in my lifetime, so I am interested in knowing what it is, what's going on with it. Somebody asked what the tool is, and it's just a website. It's just Krea, Krea .ai, right? So if you just go to Krea .ai, this is kind of the screen that you'll get. Let me just go to it real quick. Right? So, and then you just real-time generation. This is the thing. You just run it, right? And then it basically starts here, and you can type in whatever caption you want. And then all you need to do is just go to screen to image here, go to window, pick the ZBrush window, share. So now that's shared. And of course, ZBrush is here now. I'll just move it over. And then I just need to resize it and place the ZBrush viewport so it takes up the main image. Right, so I'm just kind of resizing this window so that I just need this part. It's a little bit hard to do it, and I don't know why ZBrush is just kind of taking up more screen on the space on the bottom. But so you just kind of position your ZBrush window this way, and then as you lower this, you know, impact, you know, this influence kind of slider. When you go to the bottom, it basically goes to this, right? And then on your other screen or wherever you've got ZBrush, you can just rotate your object, and then it will rotate over here on the right. And notice here, as I'm rotating it, it's changing what it is, right? So it's not actually rotating, like it's not rotating this thing. It's just reinterpreting the image. However, I can get whatever angle I want. So if I want to look at it from the top, I'm looking at it from the top, like this. And if I want to look at it from this angle, like maybe it's looking down at me, now I'm getting that. And if I wanted to, you know, do the whole body, like maybe far away, I'm getting that, right? And if I want to have two of them, oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's turn symmetry off for a minute. So if I want to have two of these things, and look, notice here that it realizes that one of them is darker because it's masked. Now there's two, right? So the twin aliens, put them next to each other here, right? So now it's doing two. And what's interesting here is that it knows that these two are the same thing. So they're very similar over here. So whatever the seed is, it's generating the same thing. So it realizes that these are twins. It realizes that they're the exact same image. So it's generating two of them this way, right? And if I want to rotate these, look at them, let's say from like this angle, it's going to take a minute here to figure it out. There it is, right? So it knows it's two of the same thing. And if I do this, right? It knows that these are twins, and so it's going to make them into the same creature. So it's not a different creature for each one. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty fast. So the thing that I'm kind of really baffled by is how fast it's happening over here. I mean, obviously it's not a very clean image. It's still kind of wonky. And I'm just going to go back to one here. It's still kind of not a very clean image, and it's kind of wonky, but it is giving me something. And then if I really want to see what this would look like with a little bit more detail, I can always do the quick enhance. And I don't know if you guys can see it. It's doing it and then just going away real quick. And I don't know why. Maybe if I make the strength bigger, it'll stay longer. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. And if I want to enhance it even more, then is when I can do the thing where I send it over to the enhance and enlarge, which will take a while to compute. But this is instantaneous. Like this, just kind of moving it around like this, I get instantaneous results over here, right? And so I'm just using an alien, but it could be anything, right? It could be a person. It could be, here, I'll just load in Demo Soldier real quick. It'll be interesting to see what it does with Demo Soldier. Here's what a dialog box will look at like in AI, right? Let's, and here's the, okay, so this is the Demo Soldier, right? But this is kind of, you know, an alien creature, but this could be, you know, let's just say Space Marine. All right, there we go. So now I've got Demo Soldier over here, and as I rotate the Demo Soldier, it is generating a Space Marine. I don't know what kind of Space Marine this is, but this is kind of the result that I'm getting with that. And let's just say Space Soldier. Right, and then as I rotate this around, I'm getting all sorts of different type of results. Get rid of the gizmo here. It kind of is adding some visual interest, but yeah, right? And then let's take space out and let's just say, I don't know, Vietnam War. Let's just say, how about a World War II? Let's see if it knows how to do this. Right, so now it's kind of okay, so now it's giving me something that's more World War II looking. And again, I can always change the color. Let's say I want to change it something like a dark green. Right, so it's giving me more of a dark green result over here. And of course I can poly paint or do different things. And I'll just do one other thing in from here. I'll just load in, how about this thing? Right. Right, so here's this thing that comes with ZBrush, and you can kind of see, and let's just say this is let's say it's a dragon. Okay, so here it's not a dragon, but here it is, and notice that it's kept the colors and everything kind of, and then I can just rotate around and get like all sorts of dragon-looking things with it, right? So I'm inputting this, but I'm getting a dragon on the right. So it's kind of redoing this as a dragon. Let's see what a quick enhance does on that. So I'm getting some scales and stuff. I don't know why it's not staying on. I don't know if there's something I need to do here to just have it stay on. Yeah, it does it for a second and then just reverts back to this. And then if I like this, I want to send it to enhance and upscale. I can do that, and I'm just going to bring the AI strength down. And so this is the AI strength that I use to enhance. And I'm going to change the size down to 1. So that's 1024 by 1024. And just click on enhance. So it's going to enhance this image for me. And let's see if it'll do it faster since I reduced this down. Okay, enhancing. So it's doing it down below. All right, here we go. Got it. So here is the not enhanced version, and here's the non-enhanced, right? And this is just using AI of 0.34. If I pump that up and do an enhance, it's going to, of course, generate something that's a little bit more, a little bit better. So let's see what that looks like. All right, I do have some more comments here. Let me read them. Chaos and splatting in the closest scene for 3D as well, but still low fidelity. Yeah. Okay. Why would that anger me? I don't know. All right. Yeah. The budget for the Space Marine branch. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm basically showing how you can use ZBrush as a tool to work with AI. I'm not really saying it instead of, you know. So this is kind of the enhanced version of that, right? So what also is interesting is what's going on down here with the ZBrush UI. But yeah. So again, I'm using ZBrush. I'm not just using AI. I'm using ZBrush to create these types of things and generate images with Kriya, right? So in the background, it is ZBrush doing kind of the work. So I don't know, I don't think they're going to have an issue with that because it's just another way to use ZBrush, right? So here are all these different types of dragons. And again, I could up this to get more of the AI kind of doing things. And notice that it's capturing the colors. But yeah, it's capturing the same colors and the same pose of this in ZBrush, but I'm getting a kind of a completely different image. I don't think it knows what to do with what's in the hands of this thing, so I'm going to get rid of those things. And so now it's just the dragon, right? Yeah, so now it's just the dragon, and you'll see kind of it's generating this as a dragon over here. So I can just rotate it around. So this cute thing is just becoming this kind of gnarly dragon on the right. Again, would I have this be a final image and something that I submit? Most probably not, unless, again, I'm crunched for time. But will I get ideas from it to enhance my ZBrush sculpts? Absolutely, right? So again, people are going to be angry. People are going to be, you know, again, the controversy's there. I'm not chiming into the controversy. I'm just showing how ZBrush can be used to overcome some of the limitations that AI has. Okay. All right. So that's about how long I want to cover this. I spent about 47 minutes on it. I thought it was worthwhile. I knew this was going to come out at some point. You know, I just happened to be somebody who was playing around with it. Figured out that this would work, and so I just thought to share it with you. In a minute here, I'm going to look at your comments and see if there's any more questions in here that I need to answer. But here I'm just kind of doing live sculpting and changing the wings of this thing, and then you can see that that's being reflected in the AI version over on the right. Okay, and again, this is, you know, using a little bit more of AI. And notice here that as I start moving more into this realm, AI takes over, which is kind of stuff we've seen before, but kind of in the realm of maybe 1% or 0.01 to maybe 0.45, we're getting some interesting results. It's keeping the colors and angle and whatnot. So here I can just rotate it around this way. Now it's coming at you, flying down, etc. This poor innocent little creature is becoming this gnarly dragon on the right. Okay, all right, so that's about all I'm going to cover with Kriya. I'm going to close that down and bring ZBrush back, and then I'm going to load the project we've been working on, and the rest of the stream is going to be based on that. And if you guys have questions, you can contact me on my socials, and I'll share that with you. And if you want me to do more of this or use this kind of more in the workflow of these streams, I can always do that as well. I don't want to save the changes on this. And what I want to do is just load up what we've been working on. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the questions. I think it just exports JPEGs, Henry, just regular JPEGs. I'm not promoting theft, Yesimax. I'm just showing what is going on here. There is no promotion whatsoever. I'm just showing you that I tried this thing out and it works out. So if you're going to be angry and you're going to, create a ruckus, you're more than welcome to your opinion, and I respect it. And I want to say that I share a similar opinion to yours. I think it is theft. It is stealing artists' work, and I don't know if this thing is going to continue. However, I am not going to, put my head under the ground and ignore that this is a thing, and not look at it and not use it and not understand it. Okay, so hopefully you can understand that perspective. But if you want to kind of be a zealot about it, then, you have all the right to do whatever you want. All right. Yeah, you can bring it up to them. That's fine. I don't think that's going to be an issue. And if they tell me not to do it anymore, that's fine. I won't. All right. There are a lot of positive comments too. Thank you for that. The slider is sensitive. It is kind of sensitive, yeah. All right. Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Yesimax, you can drop off. It's okay if you don't watch, I don't need this negativity in my stream. All right, so moving on to what we were working on before, kind of jumping back into here, we can kind of continue to do the work. There's always going to be one person that's going to not understand. All right, so all right, so here that's funny. Okay, all right. All right, so did a few things, had some time over the holidays to work on this. I've kind of am working on a few other aspects of it, and we're gonna try and get it to a point further today than where we've been. Something here. Just a quick view here of some things. So anybody have any other questions on what I showed earlier? And also, I don't know what Kriya uses as their data set. Like maybe they are not, maybe they have, maybe they're using a sane data set. Who knows? But again, I'm not judging AI. I'm just showing a workflow. And if you think that people are not going to be using this workflow and not discovering it on their own, then I don't know what world you're living in. Everybody else seems to be okay with this. Yep. All right. Well, at least I've got a bit of dialogue here, which is always good. And I've been asking some questions on my Facebook profile about AI as well, just kind of trying to understand what people's opinions are. So if people can, if you want to friend me on there, you can answer and put in your opinions on those questions as well. And there's quite a few people that are contemplating certain things. Obviously, I am worried that it might take work away from me and other people as well. But on the other hand, I also see it having a lot of opportunities as well. So hopefully they figure out a way to pay the artists or compensate the artists, or I don't know. It's all up in the air. But I don't make the waves, I just surf them. Sometimes I kind of wish I had the Elon Musk type of response to critics. All right. How do you get or access that quick menu next to the cursor? Are you talking about this one right here? This menu over here? Punching ball? Okay, so basically the way that this works is you can customize your ZBrush UI, right? And what you can do, so under preferences here, you can go in here and under custom UI, first thing you got to do is you got to turn this on. So you go to preferences, config, and enable customize. So when you click this, you can customize your ZBrush interface. You can change it to whatever you want. So all the kind of the people online that are complaining that ZBrush is too hard to use, well, you don't have to use the ZBrush the way it's set up. You can set up your own interface and use it the way you want to use it. I mean, you still have to learn the program. You still have to spend the time. It's not the Matrix where you can blink your eye and then know it. However, you can customize it to the way you want. So one of the things I've done to customize it is if you go to custom UI here, you can create a new menu. So I've created a bunch of new menus, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 menus. And then after I've created those menus, and I'll show you the one that we were talking about here. So the menu we were talking about is this one, right? And this is my quick brush menu, right? So if I look for it here, where is it? I think it puts them here at the end. So I mean, I've got it here. It is quick brush. So it's this one right here. And then what I do after I create this menu is you can create a hotkey. So again, under preferences and hotkeys, you can load and save your hotkeys. But there is, you can create a hotkey for that menu, and then wherever you hit a keystroke, for me this is Alt Tab. So if I press Alt Tab, this menu pops up wherever my cursor is, right? And then I get these. I had a different way of doing this before when I was using a Wacom Intuos tablet. I had a radial menu that I used to press a button on the stylus to do it, but now I'm using a pen display. I'm using the Sense Labs pen display. And they don't have the radial menu yet, so then I just created this quick menu to access the brushes that I use most frequently. So hopefully that answers your questions. That one, 3D artist, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let's see. Can I width of a button like ZRemesher? Oh, what decreases the width of a button? Well, I don't think you can do them individually, but I think there's something that will do the buttons differently, and those are under eye colors, I think. Under eye colors, there might be some sliders here that will change. I think it's here. I'm not sure. So it's either under eye colors or under interface, and yeah, so button size, it's right here. I think this is just a global button size, so you can make them all bigger or smaller. And then you can choose to have wide buttons or not have wide buttons. So right now I don't have that chosen, but if I did, then the buttons would be wide. So those are kind of the things that here, this is where you can change all that stuff under UI and the button size. Okay. So hopefully, Catan, that answers your question. All right, back to this. All right, so I think I'm going to have this be here, and then I have this other piece that I added over here, which I don't know yet if I'm going to have that be there or not. Let's hide it and see. I think it adds something to it, so I'm just going to bring it back. And I don't think I need to do too much work on this because it's pretty much done its thing. And these are things that I made during the ZBrush Summit. I was sculpting there on one of their machines, so I just did a few of these things there. There's this one as well. Which one is that one? It's under head. Okay, it's this thing right here. Let me solo that out. Yeah, I don't know if I want to separate. I think I want to separate these out, so I'm just going to select it. So, split hidden. All right, so now I've got two pieces, and then let's see, what do I want to do with this thing? I swear, there's some people that just wake up angry. They wake up angry and they want to look at things that they can, like, you know, virtue signal against. And I don't know what the deal is. Like, I don't remember this being a thing a while back. It must be a new kind of social media generated thing where people are just like, It's funny because I was looking for a hotel today for a trip I'm going to be doing shortly. And there was somebody who was like, you know, I looked at the comments and somebody's like, well, this person, the owners of this hotel, you know, are people that are like, you know, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you know, like, I would never have known people, you know, what the hotel people's perspectives were before. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something I would have ever known before the internet. And nowadays, it's like, well, you know, this person cut me off once, and so I don't think, you know, I don't think we should be staying in his hotel. I was driving once, and this person cut me off, and, you know, it's so funny. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean... Yeah, one person said, you know, that's like a minority, and you're absolutely right. It's a minority of people that are just like very noisy, and I don't know how they would feel if they were kind of exposed to like being who they are, and people like, you know, canceling them, and I wonder how that would work, if that would be acceptable. But yeah, it's just really drives me nuts. All right. There was a really good movie I watched the other day with Kate Blanchett that was kind of about that. Where she's this like really amazing conductor, and her career just gets completely screwed. All right. Sometimes I even wonder if it's like a disruptive agent that does this. Like if the people aren't actually like that, but there are some people who instigate this kind of stuff just for whatever nefarious reason. Right here, I'm just kind of adding some more detail items to right, there we go. Trying to find a good way to kind of have this be integrated. Kind of liked it where it was before, up here. However, it's kind of conflicting with some of the cool stuff I've got going on, so I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there for now. All right, and I want to change the color of this thing, although I really like this blue color. I'm going to grab it and make something else that color for now. I'm going to make this that color. And then I'm going to change the color of this to maybe this gray. All right. A paid troll. Wow. It's amazing that that's even a thing. I don't know though. I mean, I'd want to say that some of the concerns that the person mentioned are somewhat valid. They are taking people's artwork without their permission. And I don't think that's cool in any way, shape, or form. So and again, I'm still working on secondary forms here. I haven't gotten to tertiary just yet. All right, let's work on these shoulder pads. I basically put these, and also the clothing. So notice here that I've made another piece of clothing, and I did that because I wanted to show another aspect of so initially I had this one, right, which is kind of a really cool way of doing it. But I also wanted to try a couple of other ways of doing a pattern. So I'm going to do one over here. Let's say I start out. Let's make sure one of them I don't change. I'm going to change this one. Right, so I'm just going to solo this out. So this is just basically a multi-level suit here, and this is kind of, and it's got micro poly on it. But let's say what I want to do here is I want to do surface noise on it. And so I'm going to turn micro poly off. Geometry, micro poly. Dynamic subdiv, and turn this off. Okay, so now it's just basically this, and let's just go up in subdivision levels, maybe a couple to about 4. Okay, and then I'm just going to use surface noise, and I don't know, do I have UVs on this thing? Morph UV, yeah, I do. They're kind of horrible. Oh no, they're not bad. Let's get wireframe on here to see what it looks like. That's perspective. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so I do have some UVs on here, so I can use that. And what I want to do here is just go to surface noise. Where are you? Surface, and just add noise here. Okay, so this is kind of what the surface noise looks like. And what I want to do is I don't want to use the noise that's here, like just the normal kind of this type of noise. Like it's not a rock, although it kind of is an interesting kind of spongy look to it. But I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to go to 0 on this, and I'm going to go to the noise plugin, and let's use something like spheres. Okay, I'm going to move this over so I can see what's going on. Spheres, and I want them to be staggered. Let's see what that looks like. Now I don't see anything because the plugin scale is not right, so I'm just going to change that. Here we go. I'm starting to get them. And it's using 3D projection, which is kind of making this really interesting pattern, but that's not what I want. I'm going to go and change it to UV here. And the plugin scale, I'm going to go something like this. Okay, and I'm still not 100% happy with what's going on here. I might re-UV this. Maybe I'll do that. Let me just redo that before I do this. Okay, so to UV it, I'm going to drop it down to its number 1 layer here. And I'm going to go to UV master. Where are you? UV master, and I'm going to use symmetry and use polygroups and just say unwrap. Okay, there it is, and let's see what it gave us. I'll just do flatten here. Oh, okay, flatten doesn't work, but morph UV will. All right, so it just gave us these UVs, and this should be a little bit better. So let's just bump that back up to level 3. Maybe even go to 4, so I don't see any faceting, right? And then let's go back to surface and turn the noise on. Okay, noise scale to 0 and noise plug. And let's just choose spheres, staggered, okay. And right, so I still have a little bit of the basic noise on here, but that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is bump up the strength a bit, and then plug-in scale. Here we go. And let's do this. Okay, here we go. This is exactly what I want. And I just want these to be smaller, something like that. And let's go ahead and play with the strength. Okay, something like that. I'm going to not use the basic noise. I'm just going to have it use the existing noise. And that's a little bit too big. So 0.0025, something like that. Maybe 0.0015. there we go. Okay, so that kind of is creating this type of a look, right? So that's one other option that I have. And I can choose this, or I can choose a different noise. Maybe choose the hex tile. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to choose hex tile here. Okay. Scale obviously isn't right. So I'm going to change the plugin scale here to be something maybe like this. See, if I zoom in, it's actually not bad, but if I'm zoomed out, it's kind of bad. Of course, this has to be applied at some point, but let's see what this looks like. All right, here we go. Right, so this is kind of another type of a look that I can have for the close. And let's see, I'll try out a couple of other ones. The new Maxon noises are pretty nice, so let's try some of those. So let's see. How about the Zeta one? That's kind of a neat pattern, right? And then we can change the octaves here to get something different. All right, that's looking kind of cool. Right, so that's 0. Just keep going up. I think as I go up, it adds more kind of this surfacey type of look to it. Okay, and I can change the seed to have it look different. And let's try some other ones here. How about this electric one? See what that looks like. Okay. It's kind of an interesting one. Let's try some other ones. And these are all new noises that were added with 2024. Let's see what dents look like. Oh wow, that's kind of interesting. How about box? Oh yeah, let's see what that looks like. And let's say okay, and play with the scale of it. That's kind of an interesting sci-fi looking kind of mid-century modern type of a look to it. And we can change the strength to negative, positive. All right, let's try some other ones here. All right, let's see. Okay, let's see. Punching ball is a question here. Do I think about what I'm creating as a product or real object? Make the decision, add certain detail, or remove one. Get the logic concerns objects purely aesthetic. Well, I mean, yes and no. Depends on what it is. If I'm working on a project where it actually has to be a real thing and it's in a real world, I obviously have to kind of listen to that kind of art direction and go that way. But here, anything goes in what I'm doing. I'm just kind of experimenting and trying some new things. But if I have parameters, I will definitely be working within those parameters. All right, this looks good, and I'm gonna do one more look here, and Ober. Let's see what Ober looks like. Whoa, it's kind of interesting. That is cool. Let's see what that looks like. So, you know, this is kind of a really interesting alien looking type of pattern. So that could be one of my choices. And of course, I'd keep duplicating this clothing and making other options as well. So, so yeah, I kind of played around with some of this. And then I kind of came up with kind of a simple design. And then so with this one, let's go ahead and choose a different noise for it. Actually, I wonder if I should try. I'm going to try the micropoly with it first, but I also wanted to create a micropoly that was like holes, and there wasn't one, so I made one. So I just basically made this. It just basically all you have to do is make something, and I made this with ZModeler. You just have to make something that fits into the 1x1, so unified object. So I just made this, and here, if I go to the suit and I want to use micropoly on it, let me bring this down to subdivision level, let's say 2, and I want to use micro poly on it. I'll just go here to dynamic. That's on, and right now it's putting this in here. But if I control click on here, then I can choose whatever item I want. So I've got this here. I'll just choose that one. And now I basically have those holes as the micro poly. So you're not limited to whatever is here. You can add your own. Just by the way I showed you. Now there is a bit of stretching over here, so I can just relax the geometry just by hitting shift click and then letting go of shift and just moving my mouse around, and that relaxes the areas that are kind of compacted. And this is kind of another interesting look I thought. And this is geometry, by the way. So if I go to polyframe, this is all geometry. And I can go up one subdivision level and it'll create even a denser pattern, right? And so I thought this would be kind of a cool. Roger Dutra is asking if I played with the new Maxon noise, and I definitely have. As a matter of fact, when you're installing ZBrush, there's this image that pops up, and this is one of mine, and basically I use Maxon noise for her mask and also for the background, right? So this background is Maxon noise, and so is her mask, right? So yeah, I definitely did play around with it, and I think it's awesome. It's really, really great. By the way, if you guys are not following me on Instagram, definitely do that. I do a lot of interesting stuff on here. I did play with AI for a while, just pure prompt AI. Got really bored with it and then went back to doing stuff in ZBrush. So all the stuff is done in ZBrush. I think the last AI thing I did was the Scatia, but that was the end of it. So I don't post any, I mean, a lot of the AI stuff that I post also has been edited. Like this has been Photoshopped. So this was 2 or maybe 3 different AI images that I combined into one. This was in multiple AI images combined into one as well. And I take these things and make them into 3D. So the last season, we basically took this bust and made it into a 3D model. And you can see that over here, right? So this is the 3D model of that. This is one render of it, but of course I've got others as well. Okay. So yeah, so the Maxon noise is pretty amazing. You haven't updated Maxon ZBrush. Are you missing out? Well, I don't know. I mean, look at some of the new features that they added. If there are things that you think will help your workflow, then yes. And if not, then no. But personally, I find everything that they do really interesting, so I do subscribe to their latest version. Right, so here I'm basically just adding some extra folds to this. I guess that all happened before on here, so just to pull this out so it doesn't collide with the body underneath. Of course, I can always turn micro poly off and then adjust this and then fix it later. Right, so here I'm just kind of getting this to kind of be up against these arm rests or arm pieces. All right. All right, so something that's happening when I did that is it's kind of conflicting with the straps here, so I kind of should change the color of the suit to something else so I can see it. So let's try this blue color for the suit. Why not? There we go. actually looks pretty cool. Oh, where'd they go? I think I didn't have the little visibility thing on with it. All right, here we go. You know, I bet that person who was making a stink about the AI stuff is no longer here. Now that I'm doing stuff that's useful and not AI, she's not, or he or she is, I don't want to say it's a she, but whoever it is probably not even watching anymore. They're gone. They're on to the next thing where they can make a fuss about things. It'd be funny if they were still here. They were like, no, I'm still here. But yeah, they're not. I don't think it's haters. I just think it's, you know, I mean, I understand the concern, but I also see the stupidity. And I don't mean they're stupid. I just mean the stupidity of, like, wanting to just be virtue signaling about things versus really trying to understand what they are and what's going on. All right. All right, so I think that's looking good. All right. Kind of having trouble with this kind of area over here, trying to figure out if I want to add a belt or if I just need to, if I should just leave it be. Let's see, what if I hide these things? I did some organization of my scene, which I tend to do towards the end here, but let's hide these two things. And I don't need to see that either. I think if I just leave it like this, it's fine. This person's got kind of a square looking butt here. All right. Okay. Did a little bit of work on the helmet, but that's kind of coming along right. And the face looks good as well. All right. What should we work on next? All right, one of the things I want to do is I want to repair these tubes over here. When these started out, they were nice cylinders, but now they're all messed up. So here is a very interesting way of doing this. And I think there was a way to put a curve in the middle of this. Let me see if I remember how to do it. Curve functions, curve modifiers, no. All right, well, I can do it a little bit of a different way here, where I'm just going to take one of these lines. I'm just going to smooth this out, and I'm just going to take one of these and choose it to be my line. So I'm going to go to ZModeler and choose Polygroup, Polyloop. Choose this one. That's fine. And then I don't really need this part. Subdivide it? No. It's just dynamic. Turn dynamic off for a minute. And I'm going to delete a poly loop here, so I don't need this part. And I'm also going to delete this poly loop. Delete this island. Okay. All right, and then I'm just going to choose polygroup, poly loop, choose this one, and I'm going to do another one here and make it this. Okay, and that's all I need. I don't need the rest of this. I'm just going to delete polygroup all, get rid of these guys. So all I need is just this strip here. And then another thing I'm going to do here is just kind of, again, shift, let go of shift and just smooth this out so it's kind of a smooth curve. And then I'm going to go to curve mode here. So under stroke, curve functions, and I'm going to frame by polygroups and do this. And so now I just basically, I've created two curves, right, on each side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go to insert, BI, insert, or BC, B curve, sorry. BC, curve, and curve tubes. Where are you? Curve tube. Right. And click here. Right. And that just basically generates a cylinder that is perfect. Now let's see how that fits within what I had before. It's good, but I need it to be thicker. So I just make this brush size a little bit bigger and do that. That's too big. Let's just type numbers 3. 3 is good, I think. And then I can also move the curve in like so. Actually, doing 2 might be interesting. Oh, so the reason why this is happening is because when I did this, I had mirroring on, and I shouldn't have. So that's okay. I'll just go over here and solo this out. Turn symmetry off. Just grab half of this. Let me delete the curve first. Okay, so this is just going to be the same thing again, but I will just do frame mesh, and there it is. So now I just have the one curve, and I can move it around to where I want it to go. And I think it has a thing where it's locked the one part of the curve in the front, which is actually okay. And then I'm just moving this to where I want it to go. And notice the thing that I had before is still there. I will get rid of it in a minute. But here I'm just trying to get this curve to do what I want it to do, which is this. And I want it to kind of align with this little ending over here. There we go. And then what you could do is you could smooth the curve. And then just tap on it again, and it will create the curve with the smoothing. Okay, so that's good. Let's solo that out. I'm liking this. It's great. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the curve. And then I'm just going to select a little bit of this, Control A, invert the selection, delete hidden. And so I'm just left with this, and then I'll just mirror and weld it to the other side. Okay, so now I've got this happening. And I can make minor adjustments to these just by, oops. At this point I do want symmetry back, and just move this over just like that. So now I know it's a perfect curve. I might want to do some changes to it, and I will do that again by soloing it out. And maybe what I want to do is select, what do I have going on here? Let's see, polygroup, a single poly. Like that, and I'm just going to QMesh that out, QMesh polygroup island, and pull this up, something like this. Maybe not. All right, let's just do this with it, and let's see where this lands. Of course, eventually I'm going to do dynamic subdiv on this. That's good. All right, so I like what I did. I just want to do it all the way down to here. So I'm just going to go here and say polygroup, single poly. I'm just going to do more of them all the way down. Let's see where that's getting us. I keep adding edge loops because I have insert on. I'm just going to click that to do nothing. Right. Let's do one more. Like so. Okay, dynamic subdiv, always yes. And then I'm going to QMesh polygroup all. I think that's good, but I kind of want to see more of these. So I'm just going to go back to polygrouping. Poly. Not QMesh polygroup. Okay, there. One, two, three, four. Then do the same here. All right. There, that looks cool. All right, let's let that autosave and see if there's any other comments? Nope. All right. I think I think a bunch of people tuned in just to see the AI stuff. So I think they've kind of left, which is fine. Just kind of creating something a little bit more interesting. Looking over here, let's see if that works. Yep. All right, so I'm going to do a similar kind of thing to this tube right here. So I'm just going to solo it out, and let's just find a nice curve. Maybe this one. We're going to do is delete, edge loop complete. Nope, that's all we want. Where am I on edge? Do nothing for edge. polygon, delete, polyloop, gone. This. Same thing this way. Oop. And again, I'm going to do this on one side, so I'm going to turn symmetry off. Select this. Delete hidden. And polygroup, polyloop. This way. And choose another one this way. So the way I'm getting a different color is by tapping Alt, right? And then I'm just going to delete polygroup all. Nope. Delete polygroup all and get rid of this one and this one. And oh, there's 3 of them. Okay. Now I've got just this, and again, hold Shift, let go to smooth out that curve. All right, frame. B curve, curve tube, and let's bring this back so we can see how thick that curve is going to be. Let's just choose a draw size of 2. Let's see what that gives us. 2, I need bigger. Let's go to 3. Might even be able to go to 4. Let's see. I think 4 might be interesting. What about if I go to 5? All right, 5 I think is the winner. Winner chicken dinner. There it is. Okay, all right, let's solo that out. Again, I don't need this part, so I'm just going to select it. Delete hidden, delete the curve, and all I'm left with is this tube. Solo that out. D for dynamic. Q2, just do some minor adjustments to this. Not too much. And then mirror it to the other side. There we go. And there it is. All right. I'm going to go back to where I had the curve here and make a minor adjustment. So I know that whatever change I'm making to the curve here, whoa, why is it, that's weird. Oh, that's why, because I don't have a curve brush chosen. Okay, and if I go back to the curve brush, I should be able to still move this. Yep. Oh, nope. Not 8 is too big. I think maybe let's split the difference. Let's do 4.5 here for the size. There it is. I don't know why there's another one there, but it doesn't matter. I think I know why. I think it's because I actually clicked and accepted it. So I can get rid of it, not a problem. All right, I think this is good for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this. A, invert the selection, delete that, and then do the same thing for this. Now, I wonder if I can still, yeah, I can, good. Right, I just need to make sure I don't just click. All right, I think I know what's going on here, not a problem. Easily fixable. I'm just going to make this really small for a minute. Just create a very small curve and then just delete these two. Why is this still here? And this curve is like getting out of control. All right. Time to go all the way back to where we had this. And we had our first curve. All right. And I think we went with a draw size of 3.5 or 4.5. I think, and we just clicked. Yep, don't care about that. All right, and now we can adjust this the way we want it. I'm going to smooth that curve a little bit and redraw this. Okay, and then just move it in. Yeah, I should have adjusted this stuff a little bit more before I kind of moved on. All right, here we go. Okay, that's good enough. Solo. Delete the curve. Select this, Control A, invert, delete hidden. There it is. Solo that out. And do a mirror weld to the other side. Just what? Oh. Here we go. All right, that's good. Go back to this one. And just move it up a bit. All right. All right, wanted to do these twos. Now the other thing I also did work on a little bit last time is this thing right here, and I still don't have it being exactly what I want. I made a few changes to it, but it's not hard surfacey enough. So I'm going to go to my clip curve and straighten a few things out. All right, let's see. Okay, number of watchers has gone up again. So weird to see the viewership go up and down during the stream. That's looking a little bit better. Got a little bit of a tangent here that I can either break or play along with. I think I'll play along with it. And also I'm going to use mask lasso here and make this a little bit wider. I think this is a Dynamesh piece, so I can still mess with it. Just want this part to be a little bit thicker. There we go. Make sure it is Dynamesh. Nope, it's not Dynamesh. Really? I guess not. All right. I mean, I don't mind Dynameshing it. I think I will. I'm going to Dynamesh this resolution of, let's say, 250. Let's try 512. Boom. Nope. Maybe more. No, it's not even, I don't know why. All right, maybe I'll just remesh it again. Just remesh it at double. Here we go. That works. And then just straighten these out again. All right. Let's see if this works. Do this. I don't know if this thing got its color taken off. Let's see. Where are you? Oops. Do that. Oh man. This back down. Head. Expand it out. And we're on this piece. Oh yeah, it did. Okay. Oh well. All right, I guess it didn't have a color, so I think I'm going to make it maybe this color, or what color? How about this one? Fill object, there it is. Okay. It's getting there. I think maybe next time I will only do the tertiary details. And then once that's done, I need to group this thing in such a way that I can take it into Character Creator and create a nice pose for it. All right, so we're at 52, and to end this, I will end it the way I started it, so all the folks that stuck with the stream can kind of see what this would look like in Kriya, right? So let's kind of move this out of the way to out here, and then let's open up. Let's go to Kriya.ai, run. We're still on the dragon. Okay, and let's just do this. Windows ZBrush, share, there it is. right. Now, obviously, this is not a dragon. But if it was a dragon, I mean, this is really a trip. Take a look at this. Wow. So basically, it's taking what I have here and using some of the elements of it, but creating a dragon. How wild is that? I mean, obviously, if I go, but yeah, like it understands the shoulder pads, and somehow it's like an apish looking dragon. Okay, so let's say skull, astronaut. Let's generate some seeds here. Okay, there we go. So, you know, it's not what I have here, but it's kind of an interesting version of it, right? And then I can turn this around like that. And the AI that's being generated is just following that. And as I'm looking at this, I'm looking at what's happening over here to see if there's an interesting aspect that I could, you know, maybe do as well. Now let's go up out a bit, see what we get, right? So it's kind of getting a really interesting looking thing there. But again, like, you know, I mean, obviously this is not this, right? In any way, shape, or form. But it is interesting, and it is giving me maybe some ideas of things that I can do. But yeah. Right, and as I'm rotating it, I'm getting different vantage points. Let's see if it, I mean, it's kind of wild that it understands that this is a backpack, and it understands that there's this little hook thing over here. So it kind of is doing that as well. It's not understanding the tubes very well. Also now it's thinking this is the front. So it doesn't really know if it's a front or a back unless I rotate it at an angle where that makes more sense. Now I just saw something real quick, which was like this little band on the shoulder pads, which I think I might do. But again, it doesn't really understand the angle very well, but then somehow does as well. All right, so let's see what Kriya will come up with as a final kind of idea for today's stream. Right, let's just do a quick enhance. Okay, that's kind of interesting, but not. Okay, and let's just up this a bit to give AI a little bit more. Yeah, I think the more I up this, the worse it gets. The closer it is to my design, the more interesting it's generating the stuff. So again, I don't think AI's like got anything on what I'm doing. All right, I kind of like that. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to shoot it over to the enhance. I'm going to bring down the strength of AI to about 0.36 here. And let's go ahead and enhance it. And I don't need an upscale factor of 2. Let's go ahead and enhance this, see if it does it. See what we get, if we're going to get anything interesting, or if we're just going to get the same kind of garbage. All right, let's see. Why is it taking so long? Hello. That's weird because it did it pretty fast earlier. So this is again pure AI. I need to add ZBrush again. Right. Okay, so again, pure AI here, because it's the strength is 0.7. As I start reducing it, it starts getting closer and closer to what I have. I'm going to find something kind of sort of interesting here. Let's say that. And let's send this over. Let's bring this down to that, and let's bring this down to here. I don't know why this is taking so long, but we can give it a minute here. In the meantime, I will do a quick save. Still doing its thing here. I don't know why it's having a difficulty. Maybe it's just not going to do it. All right, well, I'm just going to leave this in the background, but I'll bring this back. All right, so here's our guy today, and like I said, we're getting very close with this, and hopefully sometime in the next few streams we'll have it finished and posed and rendered as well. I might be taking this into GoZ into Cinema 4D and maybe use Redshift in there, but let's put some perspective on and let's do a BPR render real quick and see what we get. All right, that's not bad. Just kind of a quick BPR render with some filters. All right, and I think this would be a good place to stop. Unless you guys have any other questions, let me know. And with that, I wish you all Happy New Year, happy ZBrushing. Hopefully you've kind of seen some new ideas here and it'll help you in your workflow. Thanks again for watching, and